أسامة حامد وزير التنمية الاجتماعية في دولة فلسطين فليتفضل سعادته.
Mesdames et Messieurs les ministres, Mesdames et Messieurs les ambassadeurs et les ambassadrices, Mesdames et Messieurs en grade d'égalité, je souhaite tout d'abord remercier le Qatar pour cet accueil et féliciter le Brésil pour le lancement de l'Alliance mondiale contre la faim et la pauvreté, internationale de sécurité alimentaire, de nutrition et d'agriculture durable. Rien que pour l'année 2024, plus de 350 millions d'euros ont été engagés sur plus de 10 projets sur le continent.
All kinds of mechanisms that would allow us to transfer cash, especially for the vulnerable communities in Gaza and in West Bank. So we advance the digital payment, not because we need this, because we need to go into digital economy, but because it's a need. All the banking system in Gaza destroyed.
Agriculture and social protection systems. Without these national priorities will remain unfunded and commitments will remain aspirations on paper. Through the G20 Development Working Group and the Food Security Task Force, South Africa has prioritized tackling price spikes and inflation, which undermine food access in a world that has nothing to feed all its people. The Global Alliance offers a platform to accelerate this agenda through solidarity.
UNICEF's multi-sector approach and expertise and country presence in over 130 countries. Our commitment to the national partners and the Global Alliance also extends to marshalling partnerships and financing in support of our joint objectives. UNICEF is working with governments and partners to leverage financing through mechanisms such as the Child Nutrition Fund. The Child Nutrition Fund is a UNICEF-led multi-partner coordination and financing mechanism designed to accelerate
those with our member states. The high-level objectives of the Global Alliance are well aligned with the conclusions of the World Without Hunger Conference that was organized in November 2024 by the government.
شوف قيس الامور ها
for social development. This meeting is held in accordance with Resolution 78 draft Resolution 8/80 and 5 that contains the political declaration. I give the floor to the representative of the Secretariat.
Thank you, Madam President. The present oral statement is made in the context of the Rule 153 of the Rules of Procedure of the General Assembly. The present statement was distributed also to Member States. The request contained in paragraph 43A and B under the heading Follow-up of Draft Resolution 8/80/F5 would entail additional new activities and would constitute an addition to the workload of the Secretariat. However, in the absence of modalities for the mandated kind of ordinary meetings under the auspices of General Assembly, paragraph 43A, and the timing of the new report requesting the preparation of the follow-up process of the Doha Declaration and the Copenhagen Declaration Program of Action, paragraph 43B, it is not possible at the present time to estimate the budgetary implications of the new activities. When the format, scope, and other modalities are determined, the Secretary General would assess the budgetary implications and advise the General Assembly in accordance with Rule 153 of the Rules of Procedure of the General Assembly. Also, once modalities are known, In accordance with the established practice, the date of the high-level plenary meeting will be determined in consultation with the Department of General Assembly Conference Management. While it is the understanding of the Secretariat that adoption of draft resolution A/80/L5 would not entail program budget implications for 2026, related resource requirements for subsequent years, as applicable, will be presented in the proposed program budget for consideration by the General Assembly in the applicable years. Thank you, Madam President.
I thank the representative of the Secretariat. Before proceeding further, members are reminded that pursuant to decision 80/509 of 31st October 2025, any explanation of vote concerning the draft resolution shall be made immediately before the closing segment of the summit instead of at the opening segment. We shall now take a decision on draft resolution A/80/L5, entitled Doha Political Declaration of the World Social Summit, under the title The Second World Summit for Social Development. May I take it that the Assembly decides to adopt draft resolution A/80/L5? It is so decided. I would like to express my sincere thanks to Her Excellency Sophie de Smet, Permanent Representative of Belgium to the United Nations, and His Excellency Ahmad Hewad, Permanent Representative of Morocco to the United Nations, who ably and patiently conducted the discussions and complex negotiations on this political declaration. I also express my sincere thanks to His Excellency Philippe Kudelka, the former permanent representative of Belgium to the United Nations, for his work in the initial stage of the process. I'm sure members of the Assembly will join me in extending to them our sincere gratitude. I will now make a statement as the President of the General Assembly. About 30 years ago, that social development and inclusion is essential for strong societies. Today, Doha must go the last mile and teach us how to leave no one behind, end social injustice, and guarantee dignity for everyone. Prioritizing a people-first approach, Copenhagen helped to give birth to the SDGs and later the Pact for the Future. We've seen these last 3 decades what power we can have as an international community, as United Nations, when working together, While unemployment has fallen to 5% globally, this hides vast disparities. For instance, unemployment stands at less than 1% in some countries, yet it amounts to more than 30% in others. And young people remain 3 times more likely to be unemployed. This as women continue to earn just 78 cents for every dollar earned by men. That is why this conference, this moment truly matters. To join forces in order to make life fair for everyone, regardless of the circumstances of your birth, or if you live in a region prone to natural disaster or conflict. Allow me to make 3 points on our shared challenges and shared opportunities in delivering on social development. First, we need to urgently address the single largest obstacle facing our pursuit of social development, the climate crisis. We see it time and time again in the wake of climate disasters that wipe out social services and GDP in each future ton of CO2 emissions to change course now. Fighting the climate crisis and ending hunger and poverty is not merely an act of charity. It is a matter of security and self-interest for all countries. And that brings me to my second point. This second World Summit for Social Development reminds us that in order to tackle these multi-dimensional issues, so too must our solutions and agendas, multi-dimensional and interconnected. The Doha Declaration, as well as the SDGs, call for holistic strategies because it cannot serve ultimately increasing their profitability. Men and women from all regions, especially from all developed, less developed countries. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, we truly live in geopolitical, challenging and fragmented times.
The first World Summit for Social Development in Copenhagen in 1995 was a moment of moral clarity. It reminded us that true development is not about prosperity for the few. It is about opportunities for the many, grounded in social justice, full employment, and human dignity. Since then, over 1 billion people have escaped extreme poverty. Global unemployment is at a near historic low. Access to health care, education, and social protection has dramatically expanded. People are living longer, and child and maternal mortality have declined. And more girls are attending school, with rising graduation rates for all students. These achievements were the result of actions by the global community to deliver on the promise of the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. Actions by governments to invest in systems that lifted people up rather than leaving them behind. Actions by international organizations and civil society partners to support development. Actions by businesses to ensure that practices enable, not erase, social development and social justice. And actions by donors to help countries invest in their people, infrastructure, and economies. But this second World Summit for Social Development opens at the moment of high global uncertainty, divisions, conflicts, and widespread human suffering. People are still facing hunger, poverty, displacement, and unemployment. Developing countries are not getting the level of support they need. And we are not moving fast enough to mitigate the volatility and outright destruction brought by a warming planet. And we are falling short on the Sustainable Development Goals. Your Majesties, Your Highnesses, Excellencies, the Doha Political Declaration represents a booster shot for development. At its heart, the Declaration is a people's plan. Bringing it to life requires action in 4 areas. First, the people's plan means accelerating our fight against poverty and inequality. It is unconscionable that nearly 700 million people still live in extreme poverty, with the richest 1% own nearly half of global wealth. It is unacceptable that millions go hungry every day or die each year from preventable disease. Trends made far worse by relentless global aid cuts. And it is intolerable that almost 4 billion people lack access to any form of social protection at all. Fighting poverty requires targeted, country systems that can deliver care and medicine to every person, no matter where they live or how much they earn. Water and sanitation systems that deliver clean water to all, and housing, energy systems that are clean, reliable, and accessible to all, powering development and jobs. Education systems capable of reaching every child and young person with quality education skills and equipped by well-trained and supported teachers. Universal social protection systems can support people when they need it, and reliable, robust, and developing countries. We also need to ease debt burdens with new instruments to reduce borrowing costs and risks and speed up support for countries facing debt distress. The global financial architecture must be reformed so it better represents today's world and the needs of developing countries. Developing countries need and deserve stronger participation at the decision-making table across global financial institutions. And global economic governance must become more inclusive, representative, equitable, and effective. Your Majesties, Your Highnesses, Excellencies. Enfin, un plan conçu pour les peuples doit les rassembler, non les diviser. Trop de personnes sont laissées de côté, notamment les femmes, les minorités, les faut que les algorithmes de l'intelligence artificielle ne deviennent pas des bastions du chauvinisme masculin. En tout temps et en tout lieu, les droits humains, en tout temps et en tout lieu, les droits humains. Je crois qu'il y a un problème avec
تعاون متضامن وفعال تحتز دولة قطر بالشراكة الاستراتيجية الوثيقة مع منظمة الأمم المتحدة حيث لم تتوانى يوما عن تدبير تعهداتها وتعد في مقدمة الدول الداعمة لها في مجالات مختلفة. وستظل دولة قطر شريكا فاعلا في المجتمع الدولي وداعما لجهود التنمية الاجتماعية من خلال ما تقدمه من مساعدات ومساهمات للعديد من الدول والمجتمعات من خلال صندوق قطر للتنمية وقطر خيرية وغيرها. حضور الكرام، من الحد الأدنى المطلوب لتدبير الجدية في التعامل مع التحديات المشتركة مع الجهود وتقديم الدعم للشعب الفلسطيني لإعادة الإعمار وتكميل الاحتياجات الأساسية لهذا الشعب الصامت حتى تحقيق العدالة وممارسة حقوقه المشروعة على أرضه ووطنه. وفي سياق مسألة السلام والاستقرار في مسألة السلام والاستقرار لا يسعني أن أختتم هذه الكلمة دون الإشارة إلى صدمتنا جميعا من هول الفظائع التي ارتكبت في مدينة القاشر في إقليم دارفور في السودان وإدانة قاطعة لها. وهل كنا بحاجة إلى دليل آخر يدرك أن تجاهل العبث بأمن الدول وسيادتها واستقرارها وسهولة إدارة الظهر بالحروب الأهلية وفضائعها لا بد أن يعود إلى مثل هذه الصدمات؟ لقد عاش السودان أهوال هذه الحرب منذ عامين ونصف، وقد آن الأوان لوقفها والتوصل إلى حل سياسي يضمن وحدة السودان وسيادته وسلامة أراضيه. حضور الكرام، سوف يكون نجاحنا بقدرتنا على ترجمة التزاماتنا إلى إجراءات ملموسة لتحقيق التنمية الاجتماعية للجميع وخصوصا للدول النامية. ويمكننا سوية أن نحول هذا المؤتمر إلى منعطف هام بحيث نسهل تداولاتنا مع
we give that effort and the ecosystem will support it by bringing together governments, human systems, stakeholders to translate their commitments into action. The role of the Commission for social development will be pivotal in this regard. We should spare no effort in strengthening it because of forums and segments provide important opportunity to connect financing for development climate resilience, and digital inclusion and youth entrepreneurship. Issues that underpin poverty, education, decent work, and social inclusion. Our policy guidance support implementations at the local, national, and regional level, strengthening the governance efforts. That's it. UN systems analytical and evidence-based support runs throughout the Council work. And providing space for the diverse voices of stakeholders, including youth, women, and persons with disabilities, to ensure that our deliberations are rooted in the realities of the ground. This strength will be fully mobilized to advance the commitments we make here in Doha. Because we will continue to work with member states, the UN systems and partners to ensure that the Doha declarations translate into tangible progress in people's lives. Let us carry forward the spirit of Doha with unity of approach and shared determination to build societies rooted in dignity, opportunity, and inclusion for all. I thank you.
By reducing uncertainty, inequality, and insecurity, while upholding human dignity, human rights, and fundamental freedom for all. Third, the group welcomes the measures undertaken by member states to promote equal opportunity, inclusion, and social justice. And we affirm its full commitment to ensuring that all individuals are empowered to participate fully in social, economic, and political life. Fourth, the group welcomes the inclusion of racism as a cross-cutting issue in the outcome text, highlighting the need يرتكز على مبادئ حقوق الانسان والتأمينات الاجتماعية. السيدات والسادة، لقد صار القرار عام 2023 على اتفاقية منظمة العمل الدولية رقم 102 بشأن حل لجنة للضمان الاجتماعي تأكيدا لالتزامه بالمعايير.
Health and education systems are under strain, and energy deficits hold back opportunity. Beyond income, inclusion depends on access to essential services that empower individuals and protect dignity. Universal access to affordable and quality health care is not a luxury, it is a right for every human being. Housing insecurity, manifesting through homelessness, overcrowding, and substandard shelter, continue to breed inequality. As housing costs outpace wages, affordable housing must become a cornerstone of social development. Informal and precarious employment remains yet another of the greatest obstacles to stability and growth, particularly in low and middle income countries where millions live close to the poverty line. Ladies and gentlemen, the digital divide is emerging as one of the greatest barriers of our time. Access to affordable connectivity, access to devices, and digital skills must become universal. Education must include
every learner, empower every teacher, enrich every community, including persons with disability. As Africa, we believe that transforming informal sectors, enhancing productive capacity, and expanding access to global markets requires stronger international cooperation in line with the Addis Ababa Action Agenda and the right to develop.
The process is inclusive. The state creates institutions to guarantee an equitable distribution of prosperity. For prosperity, cohesion, stability, and peace, poverty, and equality in our societies, and to break the cycle of debt that prioritizes individual freedom, but forgets the power of human connection and social belonging. No country can do this alone. Such fundamental
simple truth. The things that shape people's lives are deeply connected. You can't lift someone out of poverty if they don't have access to education. You can't sustain decent jobs while destroying the environment. Food security, health, and digital access, none of these exist in isolation. This mirrors what the 2030 Agenda has long understood. Real progress only happens when we move forward together across all fronts. It also challenges our old habit at that, of measuring success purely by GDP. How much a country produces tells us nothing about whether they can afford healthcare, breathe clean air, or live with dignity. We need measures that capture what actually matters, whether lives are improving, whether opportunities shared fairly, and whether progress can last. So we need governments to lead with integrated policies and sustained investment. We need local authorities and civil society organizations.
Educated youth track at the Science and Technology Interface Forum. We also call the engagement of youth and civil society in the negotiation for resolutions of the Commission on Social Development. Finally, we call on a transition towards a holistic, inclusive, and just a non-violent economy that prioritizes people.
Excellencies, colleagues, friends, the Copenhagen Declaration was a turning point in global development. It taught us that sustainable development, decent work, and poverty reduction,
incluyendo como resultado de la amenaza el uso de la fuerza y la aplicación del asesinato y ejecuciones extrajudiciales de más de 70 personas costa reconocido por los propios Estados Unidos, el presidente Donald Trump y el secretario de Guerra, con naciones donde estos señores reconocen, se regonean de ataques de pequeñas embarcaciones con misiles, sin presentar ningún tipo de pruebas, sin ningún procedimiento ajustado a normas internacionales. Son ejecuciones extrajudiciales cometidas por el Departamento de Guerra de Estados Unidos bajo las órdenes directas del presidente Donald Trump como parte de una supuesta lucha contra los
persistently hinder equitable development. It must immediately cease the application of coercive measures, produce genuine partnerships, and
distinguished representative of Canada. I now give the floor to the distinguished representative of Luxembourg.
Monsieur le Président, le Luxembourg souscrit à la déclaration de l'Union européenne. Nous remercions l'État du Qatar de nous accueillir si chaleureusement à Doha pour ce deuxième sommet mondial pour le développement social. 30 ans après le premier sommet social, il est temps de renouveler l'esprit de Copenhague et de renforcer notre engagement en faveur du développement social. Le Luxembourg...
And our goal is very simple: to ensure that technology serves people, making governance transparent and public services accessible to everyone. We have further contributed to enhancing digital rights and closing the digital gap as a chair of the Freedom Online Coalition in 2025.
Et l'accès aux emplois décents, notamment contribuer à l'éclosion et au développement d'un secteur qui est fort et dynamique,
pourvoyeurs d'emplois et créateurs de richesses pour les populations locales. Par ailleurs, plusieurs axes prioritaires du programme Simandou 2040 consacrent l'éducation.
Human dignity for all. Mr. Chairman, Ukraine aligns with the statement of the European Union and would like to make remarks in its others linked with the physical and psychological wounds of conflict. Yet, even
we are two friendly nations, but what divided us is politics, and maybe we could find a solution for that.